Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for jumping onto this training with me, Alicia. I welcome you. I hope everybody's keeping safe out there. It's crazy at the moment, I know, with lockdown and everything, but I really hope that you're looking after yourselves, being safe, doing as you're told, and just staying indoors and making the most of the time that you have there to work on yourselves. So this training is about writing your biggest contact list ever, which is the contact list. Your contact list, do not underestimate that. That's going to be your biggest weapon that you can have in order to grow your networks and grow your big businesses and your organizations. And whatever that organization is, it could be a traditional business, it could be a networking business, like a lot of us have. And so writing your biggest contact list means that you have more people to approach and spread more awareness about what you're doing and what you're offering to people. And so I hope you've got your pens and your paper and your notebooks ready. Note takers are the money makers. And by this end of this training, I'm declaring that you'll have at least 100 names on your contact list by the end of this. So let's make it happen. So the first thing I want you to do is clear your brains of certain things that are going to maybe hinder you from being as effective as you possibly can in this exercise. The first is negativity. There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment in the world that's negative, and a lot of things that may have gone on in your day might be affecting you, but I want you to just clear your minds of that. The second thing is doubt. So a lot of people approach their contact lists or building their contact lists or even writing their contact lists out as something that's going to be quite boring, or something that's going to be maybe even challenging. Maybe you approach it with a little bit of fear because you're already thinking ahead to approaching those people and them saying no to you, possibly. At the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? They can say no to you. That's not going to kill you. It's not going to stop you from doing what you're doing. So don't fear, and that's actually one of the things that I want you to clear your mind of as well, the fear. So prejudgment as well. Don't prejudge the people that you're writing down. As we go through the exercise and as we go through the activity, I want you to just write down the names. You don't even have to write the numbers at this point, because you can always go forward and refer to your mobile phones or your phone log or whatever that have the numbers in for those people. I just want you to literally write names down, but don't prejudge who you think will be interested, who you think won't be interested at this stage. Just write the names down. And like I mentioned before, fear is the biggest thing. Remove it from your minds. This is going to be fun. This is going to be incredible, and it's going to allow you to actually open your mind and see how much you can do in just a few minutes, like quite literally. So we all know about our markets and the people that we can approach, the people on your contact list, split up into two different categories: warm market versus cold market. Now, your warm market are obviously the people that you know and they know you well. You have their numbers in your phone more than likely, or some way to contact them, and you see them often enough for them to recognize you. So these are like friends, family, colleagues, peers, even your local takeaway. You can class them as warm market because they see you quite often. And then cold market is simply everybody else. But today, what we're going to do is just focus on your warm markets. I want you to see how far that can go if you really allow yourselves to be open-minded. Now, the exercise is called Frog's Legs. Welcome to Frog's Legs. What is Frog's Legs, Alicia? Right. So I'm going to get into this. So a lot of you may or may not have heard of an exercise called Frogs, that you're familiar with already, but I've adapted it to my own version called Frog's Legs. So Frog's Legs, every letter stands for something. So with the frogs, you've got friends, relatives, occupation, geography, social media, and then legs: local, education, groups, and same. So we're going to go through those categories one by one, and for each category I want you to write 11 names. Okay, so if you do that by the end of this, because there's 9 categories, you'll have 99 people on your contact list, and you just have to add one more name to make it 100. So let's do this. So friends, list every friend that you know and have had in the past: neighbors, old friends, just get them all down. It doesn't matter whether you've lost touch with them or not, just get them on the list, because you will have such an adventure finding them and looking for them and seeking them out on Facebook or whatever have you. And it will turn into, it will actually give you loads more prospects in the future, okay, in the process of doing so. Because you might even have to approach other people to ask, oh, do you have the number for this person, because I've been trying to find them. And then in that process, you've also connected with somebody else. So write down 11 names of friends that you can think of, past, present, and, you know, anyone else, friends of friends, even, if you like. So once you've done those 11, I'm going to, just for the purpose of time, I'm going to keep going forward, because you can always rewind this video and go back to them. So going forward, relatives. Now, every relative, young and old, doesn't matter, put them on the list. Other relatives, are older relatives, sorry, are a great source of family information, and they can give you loads of names that you didn't even know existed. I know that I have lots of family in Jamaica that I don't know of, lots of cousins, distant cousins that I've never even met. And so I know that my mum and my aunties will be able to share some insight into who I can approach there. But also, guess what? Sometimes older members of the family even join themselves, because how many of your older relatives might want to supplement their pension these days? So just think about that. So don't leave anyone out. All your family, your brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunties, grandmothers, grandfathers, all of them go on the list. 11. So next we have occupation. So who in your workplace seems miserable? Everybody? Okay, write all of your colleagues' names down, even your boss. The great thing about work is everyone complains and rants and raves about what they want to change in their lives, what they want more of, what they want less of. So you know what their reasons might be for building a business from home. The ones who want more holiday, the one that loves to travel, the one that can never afford to travel, the one who's always off sick because they hate their job, the one who never sleeps because their kids keep them up all night, the one who's about to go on a maternity leave, the one who just got fired, the one who's the last to leave and the most unappreciated. Imagine, there's so many people that do overtime in their jobs, but they don't get compensated for that, number one, and they definitely don't get a pat on the back or a congratulations from anybody. So there's a lot of people in the workplace that are you know, underappreciated, and I'm sure you can think of 11 plus names in this category. So, you know, today I'm asking you, and obviously as I'm talking, you can be writing the names down, but in these categories, I'm sure there's some of them that you can think of, like 20, 30 people, like more, you know, that you can write down more names. And obviously that means that your contact list can be even greater than 100 names. But, you know, for now we're just doing 11 because we just want to make a clean aim for 100. But I just want to show you how easy it is to write 100 names. You know, I know that in my business, you know, when I have new members come on board my team and I start to work with them, the first thing I want them to produce is a contact list, and it's the hardest thing to get out of people. I don't know why. It may be when they're approaching this kind of task, it seems like overwhelming or something, but it's just really difficult for somebody to literally say, here, I've done my 100 names, or they say, oh, I can only think of 20 or 30 people. But actually the reality is we know more, we know many more. But it's just because we prejudge and we chop and choose, you know, who we want to put down on the list, who we think will be interested, and we sort of like excuse everybody else. You know, a lot of the time it's not the case. The people that you think will do the business or be interested won't, and the people that you think won't want to do the business are the ones that are most interested, because they have something that they need, that benefit in their lives, they need that opportunity, and they've been looking for it. You know, so don't leave anybody out. At the end of the day, a no's a no, but at least if you introduce that person to the opportunity and the option, they could say yes. They could actually surprise you. So, you know, the probability of building your business is a lot greater that if you actually just talk to somebody and put them in front of the information just to see what happens, rather than just say, make the decision no for them. without, so you don't show them the business. So going forward, what's next? Geography. Who do you know in another suburb, town, a different part of the country, in Europe, or even the rest of the world? How many relatives do you have overseas in Australia, New Zealand, America, Canada, South Africa, whatever? All these expats, the great thing about expatriates is they come into contact with other expats and they spread the word for you. So, it's taproot into another level. Beyond the efforts that you're making, which is incredible. So geography, write down 11 names here for geography. Social media. Now, this one is so undermined and underused by people. There's so much power in this, especially right now when we're all in lockdown. Nobody's out. Everybody's in front of their phones, their devices, their computers, on social media. There's so many people that you can connect to on there who are looking for an opportunity right now to do something from home. Is unbelievable. So how many do you have on your social media that you might not have in your phone? They're still your warm market. Now, here's the thing. People think because you don't have their numbers in your phone, it's cold market that you're approaching, but actually they're warm market because you probably interact more with people sometimes on social media than you do with your actual friends and family. And if you're really good at connecting with people and you've started conversations with these people to get to know them, then you're a step ahead. Those you've spoken to or connected to privately are definitely a warm contact because you've broken the ice. They start to trust you, they start to know about you, you start to learn about each other. And the rest of your contacts on social media are lukewarm, let's say. They're not cold, they're lukewarm because they know of you. And we just need to strike a bit more rapport with them because you're already connected, just not familiar. So we need to make them feel more familiar with you and, put them all on your list. And, those of you who have thousands on your Facebook, you could literally write all their names down and that's your contact list. So for you to say, I can't think of like 20 names is ridiculous because I know that a lot of you have, like I said, hundreds, thousands on your Facebook alone, not even talking about Instagram or, all the other social media platforms there are out there. There's so many. So write 11 names here. That should be easy peasy. You could literally go to the last people that you've connected to on your in your inbox and put their names down. So here you should literally be able to come up with hundreds of names. So 11 is easy peasy. So going for local. This one I love because people don't even think about this. Where do you go regularly enough that workers would recognize you? This can include your local supermarket, takeaway, dry cleaners, your children's school, nursery, doctor's surgery, petrol station, bank, train station, restaurants, bus stop, pubs, nail salons, barbers and hairdressers, on your commute to work even. You may not have people's contact numbers in your phone. You might not even have any contact for them, or details, or you might not even know their names. But if they can recognize you, they're your warm market. If that person across the street in the local cafe that you see and get your bacon butty from every morning recognizes you and knows what you're about to order before you even open your mouth, they know you. They're a warm contact. And even if you don't, like I said, you don't know their name, you can easily get it and get their contact details if you made the effort to do that, because you know where they are, they know you, they recognize you, and they would trust you enough to do that, to give you those contact details. So it's just about taking that next step to actually introduce yourself properly and ask them if they're open for an opportunity and take their details. And I love the thing about the commute to work, because you might get on the train every day and see the same, a handful of the same people, because they're all making the same commute and regular journey that you're making, but you've just never connected with them. So they might recognize you even. But imagine the power of this if you got on the train one day and you sat in front of somebody who you'd seen before, and you just start up a conversation. Could be about anything. The weather. I love your tie. Where'd you get your lovely shoes from? Are you on the way to work? I see you on this train quite regularly. And you just start a rapport, start a conversation. And before you know it, every time you get on that train, they'll say hello to you and they'll start a conversation. It will be like a regular person that you talk to on the way to work every day. And that builds up their confidence in you and their trust in you. And then before you know it, you'll have the opportunity to then take that step and invite them to see an opportunity. So Going forward, education. Okay, so your peers from your school days, your university, student unions, societies, also any other form of education you might have experienced, like courses, short courses or trainings. You know, think of the ambitious and competitive students that you remember first. But don't write any off. Don't dismiss anybody, because even the class clown might be more focused and business minded years down the line nowadays, right? So don't forget your teachers as well, write them down too. So everyone you knew from your school days, put them on the list. Only asking for 11. I know there was 11, more than 11 alone in your classes, I'm sure. So this should be quite easy. And there's an instant way to break the ice with these people, even if you haven't spoken to them for years and years. You know, you can literally just ask them, oh, I remember you from whatever class, and you know, you're always one of the top students, I remember you doing really well, what are you up to now? Easy, absolutely easy to start a conversation. You know, your teachers, approach them on social media or whatever, you know, hey, Mr., Mrs., whatever, you know, it's great to see you on here. Are you still working in education? How's it going? How, you know, easy, you can find something to write. So yeah, so that's education. And groups, this is something that I encourage you to be more, to actively seek out, you know, because even if you're not part of groups, it's easy to find groups and to become part of them. This is everybody that you know from your clubs, PTA, mothers and toddlers groups, you know, PTA, obviously parent teachers associations, societies, sports, football, gym, church, religious establishments, etc., you know, Zumba class, whatever class. Put them all in your prospect book under the relevant section, and they might be duplicated because they might be cross-referenced, like as friends or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Put them down again. Even if you put a name twice, it's no big deal. But it might inspire you to also think of other people that you're connected to, or mutual contacts or whatever. So yeah, if you don't have much of a social life, then I encourage you to reach out and become part of more groups that, you know, obviously do things that interest you. So it's a win-win. You getting to learn more about something that you know, you're passionate about. But in the meantime, you know, you're doing recreational things that's gonna, you know, like I said, fulfill your passions, but also you can meet more people and widen your contact list and your network. So same, this is number 9, we're on the last one now. Now this is one that people forget to do a lot, you know, because you think your contacts have to be your contacts, but actually if you think about it, there are lots of people that you know via other people. So let's go through it. This simply means write down all the relatives of the friends you know, all the friends of the relatives you know, the colleagues of your relatives that you might know, the relatives and friends of the people that you know in your groups, and the same with your geography list. If you know people elsewhere, do you know their friends or any of their relatives? They all need to go down on the list. So this, oh my gosh, if you really use this section properly, you know, and you not only is in a way it's called tap routing, because you're getting through to other people's networks and other people's contacts, and you're not just sticking with your own. So this just broadens your spectrum and your horizon so much more. You know, if you can think of you, if you know, if, let's say you have a brother or sister, guaranteed you would have met some of their friends somehow. They would have invited them to the house. You might have gone to a family gathering where they've invited their friends as well, their birthday parties, all this kind of stuff, where you've become a bit familiar with their friends as well, you know, and their friends' brothers and sisters and things like that. So there are so many other people that you know and are connected to, and can easily get the contact details of. If you may ask a simple question to the person that is the mutual between the two of you, you know, if it's your brother or your sister, for instance. And you know, we overlook this all the time, and we don't venture into that area of things, but this can make your contact list grow by 5 times, you know. So this is an incredible strategy to use, and I really encourage you to go back over your contact list once you've made your own 100, and then go over them again, and you know, use this strategy to get more people on your list. Um, so yeah, that's really the end of the training. I mean, those were 9 categories. So if you wrote down your 11, by now you should have 99 at least. Then you just got to add one more. Add one more, and you're at 100. And that's taken us how long? 20, under 20 minutes to write a contact list of 100 names. I guarantee you, when you have a new member join your team, you have a new member come on board and you start to work with them, first thing you want to do is get their contact list. If you literally carve out 15, 20 minutes to sit with them, go through this strategy of frog's legs, get their 100 list names there and then before you even step away to do anything else with them to help them build their business, I guarantee you will have so much more success in the future, and building your organization will be an absolute breeze. So like it says right here, don't stop there. Keep adding to your list all the time, constantly. It should never stop growing. Now, we've only covered your warm market. So imagine when you start to add to your list those people that you meet on a daily basis that you never thought of before, because you see them and you don't really class them as a warm contact because you don't have the number in your mobile phone. But guess what? You see them every day because you go and buy your bus ticket every day, or you go and buy your train ticket every day, or you go to the doctor's surgery regularly. You see them behind they're the assistant behind the desk helping you, the receptionist. You know, there's so many people that you probably never even thought of before that can go on your list right now. And even if you don't know their name, write them down as blonde woman that works in the co-op across the street, or you know, just a description so you remember that the next time you see them you need to ask them for their contact details. So guys, thank you all for taking part in this training. I pray it's been of use to you and helpful and of value to you. And yeah, just keep building those contact lists and let's make it happen. Okay, God bless, be safe, have a wonderful day. And like I said, I really hope this has helped open your mind to what's possible with just your contact list. Take care.